effectively, that is about a full tank of fuel in the newer spec LMP3 cars. And you're going to see Ligers, Duqueines. I hope the Adesse is going to start. There were some woes yesterday for the single Adesse we've got on the entry this year, and a wider variety than normal of GT3 cars as well. Though we had a couple of those cars in trouble yesterday. We'll wait and see what emerges from the support paddock, held, by the way, down at the karting circuit, as usual, for the Road to Le Mans. A firm part, Martin, since 2015 of the support race offering for the Le Mans 24 Hours, and one that increasingly is drawing interest from the crowds.
It absolutely is, because it is in every way a sort of microcosm of the race itself. It's multi-class racing. In the Michelin Le Mans Cup, we race with LMP3 cars and GT3 cars. The next step up, European Le Mans Series, puts LMP3 and GT3, GT rather, and LMP2 cars as well. So that brings it up to a 3-class tier. And then when you get up into the World Endurance Championship, 4 categories, although the 2 GT classes are predominantly very, very similar, but of course different driver lineups defining them either as pro or AM cars. Should
be said as well, it has had a remarkable record of persuading teams and talent up that ladder. The Road to Le Mans, sorry, the Michelin Le Mans Cup offers an automatic invitation to Le Mans for the team winning in GT, and I think I'm right in saying that every team that has actually won in that category has gone on to race at very least in the European Le Mans Series, and in most, if not all cases, in the World Endurance Championship. It's been a huge success, this first ladder, as you say, on the first step on the ladder, with others now being added, with the things like the Ligier European Series beginning to produce talent that's coming in at a lower level. Josh Skelton there, you can see in the to the right-hand side of the picture, featured heavily in the race, holding off for a long time, a long queue of cars, trying to kind of maintain the second position. Didn't quite manage that, I'm afraid, to the end of the race. Skies clouding over a little at this point in the day. It was beautiful, clear skies to start the day with the endurance racing legends earlier. Clouding over, but still pretty steamy out there.
May have gone shorts a little prematurely this morning, I think. However, we're persevering with it. Yeah, the forecast is that there's a good chance of rain in the first couple of hours of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. It's due to remain dry thereafter, but yeah, this sort of little front that's coming through was not entirely anticipated earlier on. And there, of course, is one of the most famous track maps on the planet. It is the Circuit de la Sarthe, the first element of which is a permanent racetrack. Then you get to Mulsanne, to Tertre Rouge, onto the Mulsanne Straight, and from Mulsanne through Arnage, right back to the last wiggles of the Porsche curves. All of that is public highway for 350 odd days of the year. And then for a week here, it becomes one of the greatest challenges in motor racing. Not necessarily because, like the Nordschleife, it's such a long, hard and corner-rich challenge, but because it is so damn fast, and the average speeds here are insanely high, and it is very unforgiving. You know, there are big new gravel traps here in this new S's element, but a lot of the public highway has got forest around it, and as a result has got very little going for it in terms of places you can go off without incurring damage. And that's one of the things, as we saw yesterday's race, got underway in nice bright sunshine with Duqueine Engineering's Jean Glorieux in the number 3 car on the outside of the front row. Ugo de Wilde, in fact, for Müllner Motorsport, trying to dive up the inside. United Autosports cars, and there are plenty of them in the Le Mans Cup, trying to stay out of each other's way. No major dramas early on, but the overall race leader out front, Ugo de Wilde for Müllner Motorsport. Cool Racing, number 37 car, picking up a spot from its sister car, the number 69. As the 3 Cool Racing entries battle then. Big moment for the number 29 Revere Lifestyle car, and that, as you say, Graham, may be a little bit of an issue for them later on. More trouble. RLR M Sports, number 14 car, RLR M Sport, very experienced in the category. That car spinning off. GT3 leader from WRT, the Audi. We haven't seen much Audi action this year. 51 AF Corsa Ferrari having contact with the 83 Mercedes. Mercedes making it into the pit lane. This has been a common occurrence in Road to Le Mans races, running out wide down the grass there, not to be entirely recommended. The Black Falcon car survived that. The TFT Oberer Zürichsee Porsche getting hit by an LMP3 car and being forced into retirement. Nielsen Racing in the first flurry of pit stops, number 7 Nielsen Racing entry would feature as the race continued. It's a very strong, very experienced driver lineup in that car. They qualified in 5th place. Tony Wells started. Colin Noble would finish the race. And of course, as soon as you get any kind of safety car or full course yellow, everybody dives for the pits. As the race progressed, Nielsen Racing in front after the pit stop. More action between the Cool Racing cars again. 37 and 69 battling for position. And both of them looking to try and claim a podium spot. Once more on board in the number 8 Iron Lynx car. Oman Racing was the GT3 leader. Iron Lynx got by, then trouble. The Phoenix Racing entry taking out the United number 26 car. Entirely blameless there. The car driven by Guy Smith. And that was at the last lap. Victory for Nielsen. The LMP3 winners and the number 8 Iron Lynx car winning in GT3. So a big win for Nielsen and Rinaldi Racing. So it was pretty incident and entertainment-filled race, Graham. 45 cars still shown to be on the entry list, and as a result, it is, or on the grid, it is going to take a while for them all to exit the pit lane. As you say, down by the Piste Alain Prost, the karting circuit here.
A bit of a drama actually as they came out and came into the Ford chicane for the number 19 Cool Racing car, Mathieu de Barbeau. A bit of rotation and recovery, but seems to be no harm, no foul there. Cold tyres, almost certainly. Big field. It'll be 45 cars by the look of things to start this race. We'll wait, as I say, wait and see whether or not we do see one or two cars that were in trouble. The 51 car, big hit with the barriers at pit-in. That brought out the safety car that set up that that finish, and a fine run to the flag from Colin Noble.
And the United Autosports car as well that Guy Smith was driving that got clattered.
That did at least make its way back to the paddock, I think, under its own steam. The Racetivity car, the 83 car that was in trouble yesterday, both of regulatory and physical form, that is back out there. Did the Rinaldi car come through?
I thought I saw it coming out of the pit, out of the holding area.
It wasn't the Rinaldi car, it's the Wochenspiegel car, wasn't it, that was involved in that instance. There is the Adesse. The Adesse is out there. This is good news for lovers of non-standard LMP3 cars.
Big orange box.
It is indeed a big orange box. Ken Arbe is listed on the starters here. I've not seen that car emerge yet. The other car that did have a pretty substantial biff in the lead-up is the TS Corsa car. This is the, well, if you like, classic Team Lotus colours in Formula 1 from back in the day. That's, broadly speaking, the look of the TS Corsa Duqueine. I've not seen that car out this morning. We'll wait and see when we get round to grid time, or rather release time, but I think we've lost, possibly, Martin, the 73 car, Pietro Peccinini, and unsurprisingly, perhaps, the 51 Ferrari, heavily damaged in that impact with the wall at pit entry after contact from the Mercedes. Ken Arbe, I fear we've lost the 51 car, that very pretty blue Ferrari. So it looks to me like we may have 43 cars to start this race 2 for the Road to Le Mans.
Nevertheless, plenty to keep everybody on their toes. Müllner Motorsports' Moritz Krantz is leading the field round. All these cars on tyres supplied by Michelin in both classes, by the way. Team Thor as well, there's an interesting story. How many times have you seen an Icelandic driver racing? Answers on a postcard include the phrase, not very often, I'm sure. and an Icelandic team, rarer still, but they are a full-time entry in the championship this year in the Michelin Le Mans Cup, and really great to see, you know, just somebody who wanted to go racing, creating a team, and that's Adrian Gudmundsson, to come racing, and he appears to be having an enormously good fun time.
He's thoroughly enjoying it. The team is made up of some Icelandic guys, some Finnish guys, I think a few German pit crew as well.
Do they have to wear the horned helmets as well? You know, it's probably not a big leap for...
It's one of the problems for ordering the car, with the horns do get stuck in the headlining.
Yeah, it rips the headlining, something terrible.
But a really good spirit behind that crew, and it's been the case all the way through the year. And it's been great to see in recent years, with this ladder, more and more nations coming into endurance racing. Poland, Slovakia. You know, we've got the Racing Team India efforts that we saw in the Asia Le Mans Series. They've not been able to make it because of the travel restrictions, etc. And Iceland, great, wonderful. The more the merrier. And oddly enough, for LMP3, we've got this kind of mini tidal wave of Luxembourgers coming as well, which is also great to see. But that grid, Martin, Milner Motorsports in the 21 car, ahead of DKR Engineering. They've dominated the Michelin Le Mans Cup in recent years. Jean Glorieux coming back here for, I think, possibly a one-off this season with DKR, the number 3 Duquesne. So it's 2 Duquesnes at the start. The first of the Ligiers is the number 37 Cool Racing car, featured yesterday, Antoine Ducon in that car. Then the WTM powered by Felix Torsten Kratz in that car, the number 11 car that was damaged in the incident yesterday with Guy Smith. Cool Racing's second car, the one that had a little rotation on its as it joined the track from Mathieu de Barbara, the 19 car 5th, Rinaldi Racing 6th in the 66 of Alexander Matchell. Mikey Benham, who has won here previously with Lannan Racing back in the day. He's here with one of 2 RLR M Sport cars, the 14 car for Mikey, a regular in the European Le Mans Series nowadays. The Marcello Marittiotto DKR Engineering car, the number 1 car, is 8th on this grid, ahead of the Team Virage car with Matthias Lerton. He's in the 16 Ligier. Rounding up the top 10 in the starters in LMP3 will be the number 69 car, Maurice Smith, the heavily bearded American in the Cool Racing car, number 69.
He couldn't be in any other car, could he, Maurice?
He's great. He is the coolest dude.
Yeah,
Nielsen Racing's number 7, race winners yesterday, of course. It'd be Tony Wells who starts that. Jacques Wolf, the 25 Racing Spirit Le Mans, another of the Ligiers. Rob Hodes in the second Team Virage car, the 71. Edex Sport with Patrice Lafargue, patriarch of that team, 17 car, 14th. Tristan Nunez, great name to see there aboard the Nielsen Racing car over from North America for this one in the 28. That rounds out your top 15.
And Graham, it's really interesting to see how not only have we got teams like Team Thor, you know, teams from smaller nations coming in, but also teams that have previously not been associated with ACO rules racing. So if you haven't seen any Michelin Le Mans Cup races this year, then if you're a regular fan of VLN and the Nürburgring 24 Hours, then you will know teams like WRT, like
Absolutely.
Black Falcon, like Milner Motorsport, like Rinaldi Racing, Fricadelli Motorsport. You know, there are teams that have got a lot of endurance racing experience who are looking at the Le Mans Cup as a way of adding to their 24-hour portfolio. So it's really starting to gather a wide recognition for what it can do.
Building talent pools, building momentum, building programmes, and we're about to start this race. And back to you, Martin Haven.
We are about to get underway for the second Road to Le Mans race, Michelin Le Mans Cup race weekend number 4 on the Le Mans 24-hour circuit. Moritz Krantz is the pole man, the blue and white car. Alongside him, Jean Glorieux. They come 2 by 2 through the chicane. They wait for the lights to change. And this huge field of 44 cars gets underway. Sweeping up the inside into the first corner. Cars will be warm, but tyres and brakes will be cold. 21 took the lead early on from the inside. Jean Glorieux does the same here, and cars going straight across the chicane, luckily all facing forward. Probably won't be penalties to serve there because that was fairly much forced on them by situation. Jean Glorieux took the lead briefly, drops back down into second. Cool Racing, Antoine Ducard and Mathieu Dubabois They are running third and now fifth, sixth. It looks like, is that a puncture on the second cool car? I think he's going very slowly. I think that is Debabwa.
Frantic start from the number 11 car, involved in that incident with Guy Smith yesterday, but in a hurry to get through and deal with the lead group that's getting away, Torsten Kratz.
Yeah, blimey O'Reilly. So the top two, Moritz Kratz and Jean Glorieux pulling away, and in fact it is Mathieu Debabwa in third place. He has survived ahead of Torsten Kratz in the WTM Phoenix car, and one of the Cool Racing entries is clattering down the order, so that has disappeared somewhere. It is not Maurice Smith, it's the other car of Antoine Dequin. United Autosports on the outside of the Team Virage car. Rob Hodes with the yellow and red. Guy Smith with the red and blue. Winner for Bentley here. And tucking up behind Guy is Tristan Nunez. He likes the way that one's going. It's the first of the two yellow-nosed cars that are the Nielsen Racing entries. Guy Smith wins the battle over Virage, some trouble behind. And that may not require the safety car. Both cars are rolling. A GT3 car shot through there as well.
One of those, the 69 car.
Somebody's gone off on the exit as well.
So it was 69 car involved there. I think an avoidance more than anything else, Martin.
Yep.
Couldn't see which of the cars. It might have been the 17 in the barrier.
So the Cool Racing car of Maurice Smith was involved there, I think.
It was the 98. It was the 98 of Eric de Doncker.
Eric de Doncker.
Which is the car. That's the 98 car.
Yeah.
And that one, of all of them, I think is the one we've got any doubt. So watch that. It's the orange car to the inside here.
Yeah. So de
It's hit from
Doncker
behind.
gets hit from behind, and I think that was what took Maurice Smith out.
And
I think it was Maurice Smith who ran into the back of him, wasn't it?
It was under braking. It was the Cool Racing car.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was CD Sport car that that short-circuited that in avoidance.
Does memory play me wrong? Did Eric de Doncker have a really tough time in the Motorsport 98 car here last year as well?
Eric tends to have really stellar days out at the races or real misfortune, and that's a horrible way to go out, isn't it? So caught out under braking, and I wonder whether or not that was because he was not in a great place for that chicane, and I wonder if he braked early, that caught out Maurice Smith.
Could have been.
It looked like it.
Could have been.
Maurice certainly not one to have a lunge, without a shadow of a doubt.
No.
Not his form at all.
Maurice is very big on careful, considered moves and finishing the race. One Cool Racing car remains there. Mathieu Debabwa is third, ahead of Torsten Kratz and Mike Benham. So Mike Benham, the last of these three. This is effectively the final podium spot battle at the moment. Mikey Benham just being dropped a little in the RLR M Sport car. Guy Smith next up, and he is catching.
He's catching Mikey Benham as we see the lead group coming through the Ford chicane, led by Moritz Kratz in the number 21 Milner car. Then it's Jean Glorieux in Nemo, which is the clownfish liveried DKR engineering car. Then we get to the second group, and very close indeed they are. Mathieu Debabwa, Torsten Kratz, Mike Benham, Guy Smith is with that group now. They've just dropped Jack Wolf in the 25 Racing Spirit Le Mans car a little. I should say in GT, by the way. Rory Penton leads in the Iron Lynx number 8. Ahmed Al-Hati hanging on in there in the Oman Racing Aston Martin.
Hang on a minute. What on earth just happened to Jean Glorieux? Because he's gone 5 seconds back from Moritz Kratz. So the leader now has a 5-second lead. I'm sure at the line it was a 1-second lead. So Jean Glorieux, the number 3 DKR car, not
pace.
covering himself in Glorieux, is he?
It's pace. It is. Moritz Kratz is cranking it. He really is. He was. What is it? He was 4 seconds up, Martin, after that first lap.
I was going to say, did he make a big mistake?
No,
at the
I think it was
chicane?
whatever happened on the lead lap as we see move
Smith
here.
on Mike Benham, puncture and drama. That's Maurice Smith coming back to the pit surely, and probably into retirement, I think. Not going to be much left. And that's Antoine Dequin on the other car. So Josh Skelton is not.
So that was the car that was in trouble from the very start, almost.
Right, I don't think.
So it's not been a great start,
Hang on a
has
minute.
it?
Was it him that ran into the back of the
He was already in
Doncker?
trouble. He was the one you spotted.
Yeah, no,
with
he
the puncture.
plunged all the way down the order, didn't he?
So it's not been a great start at all, I'm afraid, for the Cool Racing team.
Maurice
They've
Smith is still going, but he's in sort of third from last.
Yeah, got one bullet left in the gun, third place, the 19th. This is the incident.
Only one of your cars can win, but...
Yeah, that was definitely Maurice Smith at the second chicane.
Yeah.
De Barbo was in trouble. De Ground was in trouble way before that. And I think you can see them in the background in that shot.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where the tyre has had enough.
It is a slow zone, by the way, at the second chicane for recovery of the number 98 car. Here comes the 37.
And what's left of its left front corner. And unfortunately, of course, they can't just go back into the paddock because it's in the wrong direction. So he will come into the pit lane. And that will be about as much as the team have, I think. And no race either for Dino Lunardi today.
Dino's been part of this team for a wee while. Also seen action into Europol's LMP3 efforts into the slow zone. And that's not 4.5 seconds.
No, the slow zone starts at Mulsanne, at Tertre Rouge, the beginning of the Mulsanne Straight.
So what's happened there, with that gap has closed under the slow zone. Now, is that trouble ahead for Jean Glorieux? He was 4.5 seconds back, 5.4 seconds back through the first timing beam, now shown as 2.5 seconds
Well, it is possible that Moritz Krantz slowed earlier and faster in the next slow, because the slow zone, when the slow zone starts, you have to be at 80 Ks, okay? There you go. The team have said, right, you get out and carry on. And actually, although he's right at the back of the field, he hasn't lost as much because of the slow zone, maybe.
Gives us an opportunity, while we've got this slow zone, to talk a little bit about the GT class. It is Rory Penton, 20th overall in the Iron Lynx, number 8 Ferrari. Oman Racing, 2 positions back with Ahmed Al-Hati. Made his entry in the British GT, was it last week before last?
Well, there it is.
Aston Martin. There it is.
There's the Aston.
Third at the moment is Nicky Lertweiler in the number 2 Joba Zürich by TFT.
Okay.
Porsche
Centrum Oberer Zürichsee.
Yes.
So it's PZ Porsche Centrum Oberer Zürichsee by TFT. It's a very, very complex name. Thank you so much for nothing, says everybody who tries to make a spreadsheet with PZ Oberer Zürichsee by TFT on. There's the Oman Racing Aston. Ahmed Al-Hati spent a lot of time racing Aston Martins, hasn't he?
He has indeed.
A lot of time.
TF Sport has been a comfortable home for him, and he's getting back into the stride of his programmes now after the travel difficulties of last year.
But for Rory Penttinen, this is a real change, because he's been a prototype driver predominantly for the last few years in Le Mans Cup and ELMS, and so that's quite a sea change to be in the Iron Lynx Ferrari. That's a very different kettle of fish.
And in demand, the lower rankings of some of these drivers, whether it be silver or bronze, has got them in demand. Found someone talented with budget. Nemo is still underway. You see what I mean there by the orange and white livery on the rear deck of that car. So Moritz Krantz from Jean Glorieux, 2.3 seconds as they came through the last timing sector.
Yep.
And that looks to me to be maybe a little closer as they complete the lap and on the Motorsport lead the way. The Duqueine, 2.4 Wong.
Nominally 13 laps, but it will run to time. It's a maximum 55-minute race, so 11 to go. Slow zone will be looked at, as always it is. Fastest lap from Jean Glorieux so far, and from where's Tom? Why am I not seeing him? Fastest lap in
GT3 are just coming through to complete their second flying laps.
Yeah.
So Moritz Krantz from Jean Glorieux, Torsten Kratz and Kratz, first and third. De Barbo, Guy Smith now up into 5th position ahead of Mikey Benham. Then Tristan Nunez, Jack Wolf, Alexander Matchell and Rob Hodes. That is your top 10 at the moment. Rory Penttinen, Ahmed Al-Hati and Nicky Lertweiler way ahead at the moment.
Dear, oh dear. That's yesterday's winners, our Race 1 winners.
11th.
Tony Wells.
Yep, running 11th in the order. It's a yellow at Marshall's Post 5. So trouble somewhere there.
Well, that was because of that, I think. Now, Tony Wells ran all the way down the barriers on Saturday last year in the battle for third.
That's bigger trouble because he's lost the cheese at the back of the car. He will need to stop for that to be replaced, and we know that is not the work of a moment.
Battle there under braking.
That's the other DKR car,
yeah,
I think.
that's Marcello Maratteotto going straight on at the chicane in a battle with the Team Virage car of Matthias Luiten. The two Virage cars, the sort of orange and black tiger stripe cars.
Yep, Polish flagged, this team. And they've been very active indeed in LMP3 racing this year. Been looking for the way in for quite a while to the Le Mans Cup and the European Le Mans Series. Have found that with a couple of well-backed efforts and featuring well here.
Just behind that little group, closing right in, the red and yellow car, that's CD Sports Adam Etiki. Roy Penton now the leader in the Iron Lynx Ferrari, setting the fastest lap in GT3.
Adam Etiki, another man to watch here. Obviously his challenge rather stymied by that run straight on at the chicane and avoidance of the carnage, near Arnage. But still running and running well. He's trying to push back towards the top 10. Remember, of course, here, Martin, we've got this mix of the higher rated pro or semi-pro drivers. Correct. And the enthusiastic AMs that fuel through their enthusiasm and their resources these efforts. We've got some very, very quick drivers still to come. And they're going to be two sorts of very quick drivers. Highly experienced drivers in prototype and sports car racing, and some real young guns. So the pace for most of these cars, when we get to the mid-race handover, is going to be upped very, very considerably.
And there's no demand to start with your gentleman driver or lowest rated driver. You can do whichever you like. You can put the hot shoe in and try and build out a big lead, or you can get your gentleman in, because then at least he gets to race guaranteed and he gets to start at Le Mans, and who doesn't want to do that? And then put the quicker guy in later. Black and orange flag for car 7 as you predicted. So there will be no double. I'm not going to say there will be no double victory for Tony Wells.
I'll say it. There's no chance.
And Colin Noble, but
it has not been the work of a moment to replace that part, and that is going to drop them right back out unless we're immediately into a safety car position and they can save some of that time.
Strange things that you read on timing screens. The actual message is black and orange flag, car 7, to repair the cheese part.
Yes.
You know, not many racing cars are actually made of cheese, but it does look like a wedge of cheese. It's the little element at the back below the wing that's sort of just closest to the ground, and that must be present on the car.
Although in fairness, some race cars, if you consume too much of them late at night, does give you nightmares. 10 laps to go being shown on timing screens. New fastest lap of the race goes to the race leader, pulling away again. Ritz Krantz at this point. Milner Motorsport have this well under control, but remember, and another one.
What is it? What is it? We could have a very long race for this one and for the 24 hours if people don't stop throwing prototypes off there.
As Guy Smith now ducked in underneath the rear wing, though, of the 19. Slowed, of course, by his own error, and Guy knows how to race here. Of course he does. We saw in the earlier race this morning the sister car to the car that Guy took to a famous Le Mans win in 2003, coming in second after a win in the earlier race this week in the Endurance Racing Legends. This is Guy in the 26 United Autosports car, was running well yesterday, and then being the unfortunate victim of someone else's incident. So Guy pushing hard.
Trying to place that car in a podium position. And right now, Mathieu de Barbois in 4th place. They are dropping away from the Phoenix entry of Torsten Kratz in 3rd. And they're 2 or 3 seconds back now. And despite that proper heart-in-the-mouth moment for the cool racing driver in the white and blue car, I mean, that was full-on rallycross. Still, Guy Smith didn't have enough speed in the straight line. He had enough to sort of creep up alongside, but then it seemed like the cool racing car just had a tiny bit more at the top end.
He backed out as that incident was happening in front of him, rather than actually lunging in. He backed out of it. The rear deck is off the number 7 to help them with that repair.
They're looking all... that wasn't about the repair. He's also rocking that left rear wheel, the mechanic there. So, I think perhaps Tony Wells reporting a lot of vibration.
And by the way, very significant, because in taking that race win yesterday, that car took the lead in the Le Mans Cup Championship standings. So that could have a dramatic effect on how we see the Championship standings going into the second half of the season.
Gerald Kraut and Scott Andrews tied for second place on 54 points ahead of John Sharman. Wayne Boyd in fourth place. And a lot of these drivers are solo because they've had different teammates over the season so far. But Tony Wells and Colin Noble have been together, not just this season, but it's sort of their, a happy partnership that has had several years together.
With the GT cars, with the Adess there, the bright orange car from Revere Lifestyle. This car coming from Australia to compete in this race. There's been a driver squad change for that.
Three wide.
And behind that, that is the TS Corsa entry. They've taken a spare car from DKR. That's why I didn't notice that car coming out. So it's a spare car. It looks to me like a DKR car. So
it does. TS Corsa. It has all the hallmarks, doesn't it?
They're beautifully prepared Duqueine, damaged earlier in the weekend, and they've got one of the Duqueine cars as the number 73 here. You'll see it just behind the Ferrari. There it is. Here's the 7 car.
Being pushed out of the way.
I think that's done.
I think that's done as well, I'm afraid. And there is the cheese wedge.
Is that the same one? They're not going to be able to recover that right now.
Well, they'll throw a yellow. Marshall's post 23 there is a yellow. Yeah,
it's much later in the lap, isn't it? 23 is on the run down to Indianapolis.
Yes, it is.
So another. There's the one of the 2 WRT Audis. Great to see them here for a one-off or 2-off appearance.
Yeah, that's Jean-Denis Delatraz ahead of Simon Ascalier in the orange prototype, the Revere Lifestyle car, and then Gino Forgione in the AF Corsa Ferrari, the number 5 car behind.
So Jean-Denis, long-time racer here. I think 10 times, I think he raced at the Le Mans 24 Hours, ex-Formula 1 driver, of course, in his day. That is the Adess. Unusual now, although another Adess chassis, in fact, 2 Adess chassis have been seen on track earlier this weekend and will be seen later today, because this is the chassis that forms the basis for the H24 hydrogen electric technology demonstrators backed by the ACO and working now towards what we now know will be a 2025 set of regulations to bring that form of technology, hydrogen fuel cell technology, into potential race-winning cars at the Le Mans 24 Hours.
Yeah, that's the Skechers WRT Audi,
that's
and that is the number 1 car, facing the wrong direction. Marcello Marattiotto.
And that's effectively their race. Is there damage to the back of that car? I think there is.
Yeah, but he has looped it round. He's avoided the barriers. That is on the exit of the Dunlop chicane. And that would be the cheese wedge.
High speeds down on that section of even under yellow flags.
Yeah.
Whose was this? That was the Impact, and that was a United Autosports car.
Is that Guy's car? That's not that battle, is it? No, that's further back. So so that's Daniel Schneider and Alden Goodmanson, I think, the Team Thor car. I think those were the 2 that were side by side.
It's one of the 2 RLRM Sport cars. This is the 14 car, Mikey Benham.
Yep.
And he has Tristan Nunes in the 28 Nielsen car behind him. Yellow at Marshall's post 3, that's up at Dunlop.
Yep.
And that will be, I'm sure, for that rotated DKR car. Yep. Slow zone is coming for recovery of that car.
That'll be 3 to 6, so it'll be through the chicane and on down to Tertre Rouge.
This 28 is one of the guesting cars here this weekend. Both cars run wide.
Stay out of the gravel. Guy Smith in the United car there, just dropping back a little now from the Cool Racing entry.
Well, that's because Mathieu de Barbo has just put in the fastest middle sector of the race, 88.2.
He's been quite a revelation this season, has he?
Yep.
In the Ligier chassis. 3 Duquesnes, 1, 2, 3, then a battle of the Ligiers. The next 6 cars are all Ligier LMP3 chassis.
The next slow zone will start just at the end of the
post 1, that's the start line.
Yep, that's in preparation to bring the cars down in speed to allow recovery of the DKR car, or recovery or restart, we hope. So it'll cramp their style a little for a lap or so.
22 United car was going very slowly there. There's a Ferrari off. Yeah, AF Corsa's Gino Forgione.
That's the car we should see Andrea Montemini in action later in this race. Was he pushed?
Or did he jump?
That's the TS Corsa car we were talking about a little earlier. And does hit the barrier.
Not hard.
And links the Iron Dames car, avoids the incident there by running very wide.
Different Iron Dames lineup in the Le Mans Cup car compared to their Le Mans car.
It is Manuela Agostino stepped out of the Le Mans car to be replaced by Sarah Bovey, and she's joined by the exciting talent that is Dorian Pan. Youngster from France.
Alice Kapadia awaiting the pit window opening.
Another man that knows how to win in a LMP3 car, and a past LMS champion, Alex. Drive-through penalties, by the way, are coming for cars 27, 25, 32, 98. Well, forget 98. That's
27 is Nielsen's Nick Adcock. Okay. 25.
That is the Racing Spirit Le Mans car running 8.
Yes.
Did I say 28? Because that's Tristan Nunes.
Yeah.
98 we don't have to worry about.
No.
That, though, has been... Yellow has been removed at Marshall's post 6. That's because the car has been recovered, I suspect, to a place of safety. That is Maritiotto, who's going to be joined by Nathan Kumar.
Yeah, not Nish Kumar.
No, Nathan Kumar, who has LMP2 experience with Inter Europol aboard their Ligier. I think in Asian Le Mans.
So I was going to say, not in ELMS or Le Mans Cup.
No.
I don't recall having watched him.
Nathan Australian.
Yeah.
Yellow at Marshall's post 33, so there's been trouble along the Porsche curves as well.
Trouble everywhere, hasn't there?
Yellow removed, so there's a quick rotation by the look of it, just as they came through Corvette corner for somebody.
There's Tristan Nunes on his own in the 28 Nielsen car. RLRM Sports Mike Benham a little further back.
8 laps now to go. Moritz Krantz still ahead of Jean Glorieux. 8.6 seconds is that gap now. Then Torsten Kratz just 2 seconds back as we start to see cars coming down pit lane. It's the number 55 from Rinaldi Racing, and the number 73 is the TS Corsa car that was involved in that incident just a few moments ago.
Yeah.
Guy Smith still sitting there in 5th position, has not made the progress I think they would have liked to see in this stage of the race.
No, not at all. It just looks like it stalls when it gets right up to the highest speed parts of the circuit, and Mathieu de Barbois in the Cool Racing number 19, who's in front of him, has a little bit more get up and go. We are on lap 6 of 13. At the end of lap 5 for the car, Roel Goethe has pitted to hand over to Stewie Hall.
No, I think it's his son.
Oh, no, he's not. Yes, you're right.
Is it Oliver?
Yeah.
Or Benji Goethe? I'll check.
Yeah, no, Stewie Hall was driving in the Fun Cup with them, wasn't he? So, yeah. So, Roel with both his sons here.
Yep, all 3 of them took part in the Fun Cup. Stewie Hall sharing the Rofco Aston Martin DBR9 in the Endurance Racing Legends, and then lad and dad here in the Le Mans Cup. Great to see Roel back here, a previous entrant, of course, in the big race itself.
And
Aston
world
Martin.
champion. World
No,
champion.
wasn't.
Was he not? He wasn't in the car, was he? No, he sponsored it.
So
Yes,
the 61 car also rolls in, so we are going to get, I hope, to see Andrea Montemini, ex-Formula 1 star, of course, in this race.
Depends how much damage was done to the front. Didn't look like a heavy impact on the nose of the car, but there was an impact on the nose of the car. Rory Penton for Iron Lynx with the black and white Dactari livery. That will mean nothing to Iron Lynx. But,
this is a change of position overall, by the way. That is the Iron Lynx car being put back into 20th position as Patrice Lafargue goes by. Rory doesn't want to get involved in that. He's got something like a 5-second gap. You can see there Ahmed Al-Hati looming. Michael Dynan, by the way, American racer to come in the Aston Martin.
Hugo de Wilde, who started the Mullner Motorsports 21 car, will be waiting to take over. 61 and 73. That was the Ferrari, wasn't it?
Yeah. So
that will
we
be
say talent to come. In comes the race leader.
And if you're saying, OK, well, 6 is not half of 13, there's no guarantee we're going to get all 13 laps. So I think they may have had a predisposed plan, or been predisposed to come in after, say, 5 laps if there was an early safety car, or 6 if there was not.
Number three car from Dicard, second place car does go through and will down to pit lane as well, but the 11 goes through and will lead the race.
Yep. United comes in, so that'll be Guy Smith coming in, I think. So too the RLR M Sport car, Mikey Benham.
About to see Malte Jakobsen interaction here. Young Danish talent, and was in exciting form here last year, making progress up the field.
New race leader then, Torsten Kratz, an advantage of 6.8 seconds over Mathieu de Barbois, who stays out in Cool Racing's number 19. Tristan Nunez stays out. Adam Etiki stays out in the 33 CD Sport car.
Time pit stops, remember, in this form of racing, so not a lot to be gained, some to be lost if you can't do it efficiently or you've got a problem. But income. The majority of the field, by the way, not including Ahmed Al Harti, he will go through and will lead the GT3 class.
Yep.
But teams in numbers coming in. At the moment, not yet stopped. 11 car from the 19, 28 Nielsen Racing car of Tristan Nunez. We did see briefly penalties appear on the screen, Martin, but they've disappeared. We'll wait and see what happens with that one.
Yeah.
Adam Etiki also goes through, has not stopped in the CD Sport car. And the only one of the GT cars that has not stopped so far is the Oman Racing 95. Car 69 will get a drive through after these, causing a collision.
That's Maurice Smith, isn't it?
That's Marshall's post 16. That will be the incident up at the second chicane that eliminated the 98 car.
Yeah. 69 Maurice Smith in the pit lane, so he has handed the car over. There are the two RLRM Sport cars nose to tail. So driver change a go-go. There are currently 10 cars on track.
Yeah.
Oh no, more than that, because there's 4 or 5.
It's gone quiet.
GT cars. Yes, it has gone very quiet.
Not for long.
4 or 5 GT cars have already headed back out.
Well, including the Müllner Motorsport car that came in from the lead. 2 minutes and 3 seconds, that car on pit lane.
Hugo de Wilde is in the 21 car.
And also following him out, and by the look of it, second of the pit stoppers, Malte Jakobsen is out there. Theo Chalal.
52
also
being reported for speeding in the pit lane. That's not going to go away, is it?
No, that's not. That is the Racing Spirit Le Mans car of Matthias Bakker. On pit lane now, as they begin to stream out in numbers. The noise level is going to go up. This is a 61 car that was in trouble with that incident a little earlier.
Very second hand on that left front corner, isn't it? Here is our current race leader, though, yet to stop. Torsten Kratz from Mathieu de Barbois.
Benji Goethe, it is.
It is Benji Goethe,
yep.
Yes.
So Dominic Schwager is out there and in amongst this. Benji Goethe out in that 34 Team WRT car. And the 61 is indeed in the hands of Andrea Montemini. Yes, that's Andrea Montemini. Jim Maguire takes over in the 26 car. That's from United Autosports. And we'll wait and see how this shakes out. So inevitably, the remaining non-pitters will come in this time.
Now, the timing system, our timing screen has shuffled a few positions around as cars have left the pit lane.
It'll settle after the next lap.
What it hasn't done is drop the United Autosports car behind Müllner Motorsport. Müllner currently, of the stoppers, shown ahead of RLR M Sport, but that may...
trouble for the Ades.
An unexpected stopper. Ines Tattinger.
The 26 hasn't stopped. What happened there was Guy did I think it did a drive-through. There's a 32-second stop registered against Guy, so he's been down pit lane, but he's not done his full stop.
Now that's interesting because the driver changed on the screen and has changed back to Guy Smith.
Okay.
So it did show that Guy was out of the car.
Gives us an opportunity to see the gull-wing doors on this car. So Ines Tattinger is listed in that car. That's an addition overnight on Simon Escalier. And what's happened here? And the car is just being pulled to a stop, so something's gone wrong.
Yeah, quite rapidly, actually. He's slowing that and stopping it quite hurriedly.
And by the way, well done, sir, or madam, not quite. It was shown...
I think it's Simon Escalier who's
so he can be pulled back there quite quickly to a place of safety. And it's Tattinger, by the way, another another driver, female driver who's had experience of racing here at the Le Mans 24 Hours and part of the Tattinger Champagne dynasty.
Yep. Some great names out in the field at the moment. Matt Bell's taken over the 19 Cool Racing car. Julian Andlauer, Porsche star in the Porsche Centrum Oberzürichsee number 4 Porsche. Dimitri Enjalbert, who was a single-seater racer and then very quick in Renault Megane's, sort of trying to find an endurance racing career. I think he would be a welcome addition to many teams. Guys like Alex Mortimer, Dominic Schwager, I mean, lots of really well-known names in this field.
One of the battles to watch is going to be that GT battle between the number 8 Iron Lynx car. Now with Logan Sargent, an exciting talent indeed aboard that number 8 car. Julian Andlauer, an established talent for Porsche.
With a 0.7 of a second gap between the two of them. And that's down to 0.3, even as I say that. So Andlauer is fully on the charge. This is our race leader. Will he come in this time? Fully expect him to. Only he, the number 14 RLR M Sport car, and the second car in GT3, which is...
No, they've all stopped now. The only car that's not been down pit lane at the moment is the number 62 car.
The AF Corse Ferrari has not stopped.
That's the one, 62. That's the only one that's not stopped, and I think he's at risk of missing the
Fenêtre du Pitage.
Indeed.
Yes, that would be, and in fact we did have that, didn't we, in the first year of Road to Le Mans. Somebody completely missed the pit window.
I think.
And came in about 50 seconds late. And the problem here is, if you don't come in on the lap you need to come in, it's another you know, 5 minutes or whatever before you get back. So it's a massive issue.
Trouble for the number 32 United Autosports car. Andy Merrick has brought that car straight back in.
Oh.
So as things stand at the moment, Ugo de Wilde still aboard, still leads. The 21 car still leads with that driver change. Torsten Kratz, at the moment, timed at something like 15 seconds back with Nicholas Kuiten. 4 seconds back from that. Steve Thomas in the Nielsen Racing car.
That's your GT3 lead trio. Mike Dynan in the Oman Racing Aston Martin, Logan Sargent in the Iron Lynx Ferrari, the black and white one, and then the Porsche right behind Julian Andlauer. So that's your 1, 2, 3. It's Aston, Ferrari, Porsche. Now, will it be Aston, Ferrari, Porsche by the time they get to the outskirts of Mulsanne in a couple more miles? And right behind, Black Falcon and Mullner Motorsport.
Battling.
Yeah. Donald Munding holding off Garnet Patterson.
Yeah, South Australian, originally slated to be in that Ades, has switched cars, and we've seen Garnet in action in the Asia Le Mans Series as well. Double yellow at Marshall Post 9.
Oh, and a big lock-up and a spin from Michael Dynan. Cars on the inside. He could not get his nose into the corner. Just carried a little too much speed. So the Iron Lynx car of Logan Sargent leads from Julian Andlauer. And hopefully Michael Dynan will be able to get the car turned around and back on track. So there are no yellows, so it looks like the Aston has moved.
Yeah, so the two LMP3 cars did make their way by what is now a 2-car battle. Logan Sargent still holding off Julian Andlauer. We predicted this might be a good battle, so it is beginning to prove.
Yeah, it's been quite a long race for Logan Sargent, because Julian Andlauer is not just going to sit back and twiddle his thumbs.
No, indeed. Lots going on in terms of the dynamics involved here. Logan Sargent looking to establish himself. He's already had an overall pole position in LMP2 in the European Le Mans Series for Racing Team Turkey. Let's watch again, see just exactly what happens here with Michael Dynan. I think he just found himself with no room to go, didn't he?
Yeah.
Too deep into the corner. But Logan Sargent looking to establish a reputation. He's doing a fine job of doing that with a team that does not lack ambition, Iron Lynx. Linking in. No pun intended with that, with the Prema Power team is effectively a new Italian super team with a talent pool to be dipped into, I'm sure, and with lots of plans for the future in sports car racing and single-seater racing.
Well, they've really hit ACO rules racing with a huge bang, haven't they, Iron Lynx? And they've been super impressive, and it's, you know, it's as AF Corsa drilled a machine, as you can imagine. Whoa, Andlauer kicking up the dirt on the exits of Indianapolis. That's really not a good thing to be doing. He'll have filth on the tyres.
In the in the GT3 areas, it is no longer anything to do with AF Corse, all in-house. As, by the way, with the Premier Input is their F4 kind of programme. Fastest lap of the race, meanwhile, went to Hugo de Wilde. It's just been bettered by Malte Jakobsen and is about to be bettered again by Gerrit Grist, who's in 10th position in the second of the two Team Virage cars behind Sascha Lehmann, but catching. It's a 3:47.248, much quicker. It's about 1.7 seconds quicker than the previous fastest lap, with Malte Jakobsen looking to try to close in on a podium position in fourth. Gerrit Grist 50 seconds off the lead here, but is tearing chunks out of everybody ahead.
It's a battle for second. Nicholas Kreutern in the Cool Racing car, the blue and silver car. Down the inside of Torsten Kratz for second place. Squeezes through, and as you said, there's about, was near 20-second lead for Müllner Motorsports Hugo de Wilde in the 21 car. So he's a long way ahead of these guys.
You can see Malte Jakobsen just behind this pair as they came out of the first chicane. He's coming into the first chicane. Interesting dynamic as well here, Martin, between the two dominant car brands in LMP3. In previous years, we've seen the Norma that begat the Duqueine have a significant straight line speed advantage. It didn't look like that with that Ligier. Yellow, by the way, at Marshall's post 6. That is Tête Rouge.
Yep. So somebody's gone off down the grass again.
And that's been removed, so that's been sorted. But Ligier pulling away here, Nicholas Kreutern. He's got 18 seconds. Drive-through penalty for causing a collision at Marshall post 6, and that is to Andrea Montemini.
Oh dear.
Unless that was for an earlier issue.
Yes, it may not have been Montemini who caused the... So, well, that's what the yellows were out for.
That's the 26 car.
Looping spin for James Maguire in the 26.
Well, you've got the Aero branding on the side. Jim Maguire is the man behind the Aero paint technology. It's effectively paint as a vinyl,
right?
But an astonishing product and making impacts. But side by side, 32, and the Porsche number 2 is not making an impact at the moment. This is Julian Andlauer on Logan Sargent, so 32 car.
Well, if he can use Andy Merrick's United Autosports car to tow him along, and potentially again put the Iron Lynx car offline.
Merrick heading back towards the top 20 after 2 stops so far for the 32 car. Some kind of issue for Andy on his very first lap aboard the United Autosports machine. 5 laps still to go as in the Iron Lynx garage. All eyes are on the timing screens and the video screens.
Fastest race lap for Gerrit Grist last time round. Purple sector 2, though, for Rinaldi Racing's Nick Veroni in 6th position.
And pushing under pressure, the number 28 Nielsen car ahead with Stephen Thomas. So positions to be gained here. Malte Jakobsen is catching the 2 cars ahead.
And they're now right up behind the 2 United cars. Andy Merrick coming up behind Jim Maguire. And
2 Virage cars.
They swap positions. Gerrit Grist goes by Sascha Lehmann.
That looked like a little bit of team orders to me. I think they've been told, let him go. He is much quicker than you. Gerrit is quicker than you.
Nicholas Veroni in Rinaldi Racing 66 car has gone by Steve Thomas for Nielsen in their number 28 car. So that's a change just ahead of this battle. So Gerrit Grist 8.1 seconds behind Stephen Thomas.
So Grist now will be working on that gap. Drive-through penalty, meanwhile, for penalty for car 11. Lap 1.
3rd place car.
That was the impact at turn 1. That was the Dunlop chicane at the start of the race. And that is the car WTM powered by Phoenix. That will drop him out of the podium positions. Will mean that Malte Jakobsen has got a different target now, and that is Nicholas Kreutern in the lead of the race, and he's catching him too.
Malte has just set a purple 1st sector, having done the fastest race lap of that car last time round. 3:47.6, 3:47.4 behind him for Nicholas Veroni, but he is 14 seconds adrift. However, Jakobsen, who will be handed 3rd place, as Leonard Weiss takes the penalty for WTM by Phoenix, he is 5 seconds behind Nicholas Kreutern in 2nd.
You can look at those purple sectors from these young, talented drivers that are forming a key part of this race as calling cards. There's a calling card.
Yeah.
There's another. There's another. This is about not just this race. It's about a full season effort, and beyond that, about a career.
Yep. Cool Racing's Matt Bell leaves the pit lane. He's served the drive-through penalty earned by Maurice Smith, and when he clattered into the back of the 98 car on lap 1 at the chicane. Hugo de Wilde, the race leader for Milner Motorsport. Nick Croyton in second place, and he could be under threat, Nicholas Croyton, because Malte Jakobsen is, he's closed the gap again with that purple Sector 1 on this lap. So the RLR M Sport car, number 14, shown as 4th place on your timing pylon, but the car in 3rd has a drive-through to serve. So there's the Milner Motorsport crew. Not sure whose Pratt Perch they're using, one of the 24-hour teams.
It's another calling card by way of a purple sector from Malte Jakobsen.
2 purple sectors, so he's on for the fastest lap of the race now.
Which at the moment sits within Garrett Grist's grasp. That is a 3:47.248. Last time around, the young Dane, a 3:47.6. He's significantly quicker than that.
Yep.
He's got a gap for second of 5.2 seconds at the moment to cover.
I tell you what, Nicholas Veroni behind him is almost matching him to the 100th.
Yep.
35.501 to 35.512 in Sector 1. Jakobsen ahead of Veroni, and a 87.67 compared to an 87.69 second sector. Those two, if they were nose to tail, would be absolutely glued together.
Change in 3rd position for GT, by the way, as Charles Wirtz has gone by Michael Dynan.
Clearly had to use a bit of off-road because he was weaving on the straight to clear the muck off his tyres.
Yellows at first
And
chicane
here
again.
is Malte Jakobsen. He is up behind Leonard Weiss. And this is not going to be the fastest lap of the race then, because he's right up behind the number 11 car. So this is for position for
Weiss has
3rd
got the
place
penalty.
on track. Yes, Weiss has a penalty to serve.
Needs to get out of the way of this, actually.
Yeah, they actually need to bring him in to serve his penalty now, but they're
doesn't.
not going to. And that's not helping, and that means suddenly that Malte Jakobsen's charge up towards Nicholas Croyton has been a little bit blunted.
Let's see what the lap time that can be produced by the RLR man. 3:47.2 to beat. It's 3:48, and that's been stymied by that battle now. Looking to get by the car ahead. Garrett Grist, by the way, moves up to 6th position. Still has not made an impact on time with the overall leader, but is picking up positions. But he's got a bigger gap now to attack.
New fastest race lap goes to the car behind this battle, Nicholas Veroni, 3:48.74. And Malte Jakobsen lost a second and more in that final few hundred metres since he got stuck up behind the number 11 car.
And that's the frustration for Jakobsen here, because he's lost that time, not against this car, but against the car ahead of him that he should really be racing. It's blue flags now.
And the car is catching him. Yeah.
And this is... He needs to be by him.
Yeah, this is not going well for Malte Jakobsen. This is possibly going to stop them having that chance to get second place.
Just 3 laps to go as well.
Yeah.
And is he going to get through before the first chicane?
He's on the inside. He's going to force the issue.
So now we'll see what speed remains in this number 14 car. An impressive run to the back of the 11 car. Now we've got something like 6 seconds to find to get on to terms with Nicholas Croyton with just 3 laps to go.
And Nicholas Croyton has opened up another 2 tenths in that first sector because Malte Jakobsen was having to battle Leonard Weiss.
Well, if he's got it in the car, he's certainly got it in the tank, and I think we're going to see how quickly Aligier can go right now, because I suspect this young man is going to be very fired up indeed. Had time with him last season, and comes from a motorsport background, but not moneyed. Was sent at 12 years old in his karting career by his dad to go and find his own sponsorship, and did so.
Just while we're watching the battle for, or potentially for second place overall, as RLRM Sports Malte Jakobsen eases away from the yet to serve its penalty number 11 car of Leonard Weiss. In GT3, the Iron Lynx Ferrari of Logan Sargent is some way clear now of Julian Andlauer. There are 3 LMP3 cars between them, And the gap is now out to about 4 seconds. Logan Sargent for the Ferrari ahead of the Porsche Zentrum Ober Zürichsee by TFT Porsche 911. And a long way back in third now, Charles Weerts in the Team WRT car with their regular Skechers livery. Fourth place, Mike Dynan in the Oman Racing Aston Martin. Fifth, Alfred Renauer, one of the two brothers that run the Precoat Herbert Motorsport team. His 911 is in fifth. And Charles-Henri Samani for Race Activity in their Mercedes is in sixth place.
Yep, so Alfred Renauer, one of the brothers at Herbert. His brother Robert will be in the main race a little later today. Charles-Henri Samani.
And is that their Le Mans debut?
That is the Le Mans debut.
Yes,
they were champions
so.
in the Asia Le Mans series and move up with a brand new Porsche, an additional Porsche to the 10 cars initially planned.
Won't be their first 24-hour race.
Oh, no.
By any stretch. They've been real stalwarts of the 24-hour series. They have done many endurance races. It's a really good family-run team.
Another family link, by the way, Charles-Henri Samani in the 83 Racetivity car. Sixth place in GT3, as we see. Logan Sargent is the brother-in-law of one Francois Perraudin.
Michael Dynan, related to Steve Dynan, the BMW exponent from the USA. Steve Dynan.
I will check, but
Dynan Tuning. I mean, it may be a relatively common name in the States. It's just, oh, and there's real trouble. And that might bring out a safety car.
That's the 27 car.
Yeah, and that is the end of the road, I'm afraid.
That is the 27 car, and...
Dear, oh dear, where's he gone off? That's Nielsen's Max Cobalt.
24-25.
Oh!
It's Indianapolis.
He has a big lock-up in the first element.
I think he's got a puncture.
Yeah, good shout. Yeah, you could see the left rear wheel coming off the ground as he was trying to slow it and turn it.
Well, happily, from the damage we saw, the impact wasn't as dramatic. No. But he'd had the problem before that corner.
Yeah. So, honking on down to Indianapolis, the fastest part of the Le Mans 24-hour circuit. And as you hit the brakes, you've got a puncture. That is a proper code brown, never mind slow zone. That's going to get his heart rate racing. So slow zone between Indianapolis, or the approach to Indianapolis, and the exit on their way to Arnage. Race leader Hugo de Wilde is heading in that general direction. Down the Ligne Droite des Unaudières, the Mulsanne Straight as it's known in English. Nick Kruyten in second place is 6.1 seconds ahead of Malte Jakobsen. And Jakobsen's last lap not as quick as Kruyten. Kruyten in second place, setting the car's fastest lap last time round. New fastest race lap last time round from Nicolas Varone. There's the Müllner Motorsport team. Moritz Kratz started the car. Hugo de Wilde has picked up the baton and is running with it. Yellow flags are out. And the slow zone begins down to 80 Ks. Do not make a mistake. Slow down early. Do not slow down too late.
So Malte Jakobsen, 6 seconds is that gap. He's not closing it, and this isn't going to help. The good news, by the way, is it's a slow zone, so there is plenty of racing room still available in the 2 laps remaining.
But it is time, 48 minutes on the clock. Is it a 55-minute cut-off, or will we get all of our laps in?
Slow zone may determine that, depending on where we've got. So black and orange flag, by the way, for car 23 to repair the rear of the car. That's one of the United Autosports cars, isn't it?
That's the car that Duncan Tappy's driving. United are really not having a good weekend of this, are they?
That's the car that lost its cheese.
Yes.
That's the one. So we've had 2 of those, and as we've seen from the Nielsen car.
No fromage, no fromage.
Indeed. That's the kind of pun we like.
Copyright Marcus Aloysius Wensleydale Pie, that one.
Cheesy, but... Did you note, while I was just checking another factet, the newest fastest lap, the 3:46.630
yes,
for Nicolas Varone?
Yeah.
Now, he's cut the gap to Leonard Weiss by half. That was something like 12 seconds. It's now under 6 seconds and still catching.
Leonard Weiss still has a drive-through to serve in that number 11 car.
So effectively, he is already ahead of him.
Yep.
There's something like 10 seconds back there from therefore from Malte Jakobsen. I'm not sure that's doable. I'm pretty sure it's not on pace at least.
Jakobsen is closing the gap to second place. It's come down from 6.1 to 5.67.
But he's running out of time.
Yep.
By the way, impressive stuff here again from Logan Sargent. Seen off the attack from a Porsche factory driver. Trouble, though, for Charles-Henri Samani. The 83 car has come to a stop.
Which means Dorian Pain has gone past him.
Yep.
In the Iron Dames
Let's
Ferrari.
watch this. This is at Dunlop. Runs on. That car's low. Is that car low down at the front right? That's
not lower down.
Yeah, it is.
No,
yeah,
it is.
It is. That's
right
the
front
corner that had the
puncher.
damage yesterday.
Yep. Or is that a collapse of suspension?
I think it's suspension.
I'm not sure that I can see Michelin lettering on that front tyre. I think it might actually have.
But not good news. He's
had a
managed to
puncture.
get that further down the road, hasn't
Yeah.
he? And it's not far away from a place of safety, so that shouldn't be too difficult to recover. But let's hope it doesn't take the edge off the end of this race, because it's been fascinating stuff so far.
Yeah.
You know, it's featuring, it should be said, a dominant drive from the 21 Milner Motorsport crew. But behind that, there's been no shortage of pace. Still lots of pace coming.
Yeah. Yellow flags at Marshall's post 5, double-waved yellows. That's because that's where the Mercedes is. It's not a slow zone, but again, here, when you've got a 15-second lead near as, you slow down more than you feel you need to. Because trying to argue that you did slow down enough later in a steward's room when you're in danger of losing a handy win is not to be wished.
Actually, it's passes Samani there. The Forest S's, and through Tertre Rouge and away he goes. This is his last lap.
Yep.
And the gap at the line was 14.5 seconds.
However, the gap second to third is down to 4.6. So
one lap to go.
Yep.
So Malte Jakobsen, it's going to be full rich here where he can. He's got a double yellow zone, and the slow zone has been removed.
So once he's passed the yellows, as soon as he gets down to Tertre Rouge, he has got, what, 13 kilometres to find 4.7 seconds. Gap's come down again a fraction in that first sector. What's 950 minus 881? So 0.07 of a second. Malte Jakobsen was quicker. That's not the rate of closing he needs. Cool Racing's Nicholas Kreutner in second, RLR M Sports Malte Jakobsen in third place. And here is a United Autosport lunge. That was for 11th, was it? Duncan Tappy going by Finn Gersh.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. It was Andy Merritt going past Michael Jensen, the CD Sport car.
Yes. Should say, by the way, in terms of speed, these cars, if you're looking for a comparison, getting on towards something like 290 kilometres an hour terminal velocity, knocking on for 180. Overtaking of car 16.
Yeah, Sasha Lehmann, the Team Virage car, the second of two Team Virage cars, looking at a possible pass on the number 1 car, the KR car, under the first slow zone, and that won't play well.
So,
oh, and
22.
It's not a good day
Scott
for United.
Andrews.
Dear, oh dear.
In fact, I think is he the only driver that will feature in both races
today.
And he's in the tyres at Tertre Rouge. What's happened here? He arrives by and says, "Oh, it's trouble already at the back of that car."
He's been.
I wonder if there's something gone wrong at the back of that car.
I think he's been pushed. I don't think he jumped, because where we saw that in replay, whoever came past just as he was coming in to shot backwards looked possibly like they might have had a slightly deranged nose, so there may have been contact involved.
There's not going to be enough time for Jakobsen to do anything about second place on pace. There might be time for Nicholas Ferroni to grab fourth. He's cut that lead in half again. It's 2.2 seconds with just one sector to go, though. Yeah. But he is flying.
He's going to get fourth anyway, because the car that's currently in fourth, number 11, has a penalty to serve. It hasn't served it, so it will be 30 seconds added to its time in lieu of the drive-through, which will put him 42 seconds back, which will be a long way away.
That's a change for the lead. That's a change for the lead in GT. What's happened there?
Andlauer has grabbed that. Happened? Julian Andlauer, who we said was making no impression on Logan Sargent, and suddenly the Frenchman in the Porsche goes by on the last lap.
I think Sargent's got a problem.
Here is our race winner then, winning at Le Mans, Mullner Motorsport and Hugo de Wilde. They win the Road to Le Mans Race 2, a big weekend for them. What a day to win. Second, Cool Racing's Nicholas Croyton. Third for RLR M Sport. They will be on the podium as well. Malte Jakobsen brings it to the line. Fourth place will go to the Argentine, Nicolas Varone, in the Rinaldi Racing 66 car, because the car that is ahead of them on the road has a penalty. But here is our GT3 lead battle. It looks as though Logan Sargent is still running at pace and probably cursing violently inside his helmet.
Here comes Wirtz as well. Wirtz is right with them.
But
He's just a couple of seconds back.
He was in a lot of traffic, wasn't he? Charles Wirtz
there
in
he is.
The Audi. There he is in the Skechers red, white and black Team WRT Audi.
Somewhere Logan Sargent has lost a lot of time.
The answer is those three cars in front,
yep.
Isn't it? We saw that with the Oman Racing Aston. Michael Dynan just had nowhere left to go when the P3 cars came up the inside of the GT3 lead battle. And I think that's exactly history repeating itself, probably for Logan Sargent. We only saw the end of it, but there was an awful lot of cars on screen.
We did. 2 or 3 seconds would have made that difference. But
again, the TS Corsa car of right behind him trying to get through, and Sargent desperately trying to think of where on earth he's going to get past Julian Andlau, but he's not. The Porsche is going to win this.
It is indeed. And coming towards the end of this lap and the end of this race in GT, desperately unlucky Logan Sargent, but maybe just the additional race experience in multi-class racing from Andlauer, as we've got a big brake lock-up from somebody. Yellow flags at the exit of and across the lines of win in GT comes, and it was trouble for one of the Cool Racing cars right at the end there. The number 2 car ahead of the number 8. Andlauer and Nicky Leutwiler take the win.
Yep, they were winners at the season opener in Barcelona. They didn't finish in Paul Ricard. They finished in 3rd place last time out in Monza, and just 1 point yesterday for pole position in race 1 here, but bingo, stingo, they will claim that Le Mans victory as well.
And that means that Nicky Leutwiler, because he's had different co-drivers,
yep.
will increase his lead in the championship. I'm sure he leads the championship.
Because Rino Mastronardi and Paolo Roberti are not racing,
yep.
and have scored nothing here.
That's a big,
they were
big
in
leap
second.
forward.
And Dorian Pat as well, who was on her own in 4th place. How far? She was tied with them, so she now is 2nd in the championship.
She will, because the cars that are not full season cars here are basically invisible for points, and that includes the 3rd place car and the 4th place car. Oh no, actually, I believe the Herbeth car were registered as a full season car, yep. but did not contest the opening race.
That's correct.
That was we didn't see, other than the last moments of that drama,
yes.
But that was, I think you're entirely right, Martin. I think that will have been that battle with a 3-car pack
yeah.
of LMP3 cars trying to get by the GT leader, and he got involved in that, and that gave Andlauer the opportunity to
it's classic multi-class racing.
Absolutely.
You know, 5 cars all want the apex.
Yeah, he's not going to be very happy about it, but them's the breaks. I think it's fair to say. Excellent stuff from the overall winners. 21, that was dominant. Can't argue with perfection.
No, absolutely. Mullner Motorsport really putting together a fantastic race weekend here.
And cards laid on the table by a number of teams and a number of drivers here. Excellent entertainment once again doled out by the Road to Le Mans.
Michelin Le Mans Cup LMP3 leaders, though, have not had a great time. Tony Wells and Colin Noble, who leapt into the lead with a 3rd place finish yesterday, they have dropped back because they failed to finish. And Gerald Kraut and Scott Andrews not scoring strongly here either, nor John Schaumann and Wayne Boyd. So suddenly the championship looks a lot more contestable, perhaps. Contact right on the inside. The number 11 car was the one that was smoking up the inside and lost control, made contact in the 1st corner. And then Maurice Smith either catching himself out or being caught out by the Motorsport 98 car, the red and black car, at the first chicane, ran into the back of it. Maurice had damage. The 98 car was out on the spot. And Maurice Smith for Cool Racing coming into the pit lane, having to serve a drive-through as well. 37 with a puncture later on. It's not been a great day for Cool Racing, I'm afraid. apart from the fact that Nicolas Kuyten took second place. The 61 Ferrari didn't have very many places to go after this bit of synchronized spinning. Contact with the car coming up the inside, the 72, I beg your pardon, the 73 car. And yeah, that wasn't entirely his fault. Long-time leader in the GT3 class, Logan Sargent. And this is earlier in the race before the driver changes. The Oman Racing Aston Martin was leading the GT3 field. In fact, after the driver changes, Michael Dynan getting caught out in traffic. Again, some big names struggling in terms of teams. United Autosport having a shocker. The Iron Dames car in trouble. Didn't see that one at the time. Whether that was Manuel Agostino or Dorian Pain, not entirely sure. A puncture putting the Nielsen car, the remaining healthy Nielsen car, off track. 27 ending up nudging gently into the barriers. Damage looked more significant probably than it was. And then in the closing stages, Julian Andlauer with two P3 cars in front. That was the move, squeezing around the long way past Logan Sargent to take the lead in GT3. Milner Motorsport, Hugo de Wilde bringing the car to the line. A comfortable and commanding victory. A really well-driven race by both drivers. A great job by the team. They claim victory Saturday morning at Le Mans. Yes.
Reminded, by the way, by one of the guys helping me to cover the race today for the, as we see, the overall results. Julian Andlauer, of course, will be in the main race. He's pole setter, wasn't he, in GTM?
Yeah. Now, the number 11 car, shown as 28 seconds back, has a drive-through penalty that they did not serve. That will be added time, so they will be getting on for a minute back and might drop them down, probably behind the number 15 RLR M Sport car to maybe 8th or 9th, somewhere in that RLR M Sport Nielsen Racing Spirit of Le Mans. If it's a 30-second penalty, if it's a 60-second penalty, because it's a long old pit lane here, then they will be way out of the ballpark. Looking further back, Team Thor had a pretty decent race into 15th place. I'm sure they'll be happy with that on their first appearance. Fricadelli racing in 18th and just outside the top 20. Last lap grab of the victory by Julian Andlauer over Logan Sargent's Iron Lynx Ferrari, with Charles Weerts in fairly close attendance in the Audi from Team WRT. That was 1-2-3 in GT3. And then a close battle. Herbert Motorsports' Alfred Renau ahead of Mike Dynan, Dorian Pain and Sebastian Tribadini, Benji Goethe and Andrea Montermini. And then not making it all the way through. And Nathan Kumar's car we saw in the gravel trap, the DKR number 1 car, and several others not making enough of the race distance to be classified as finishers. So of our 44 starters, a total of 36 were still running at the 35 were still running at the line, and the remainder either classified or not, depending on their race distance. So that's it for Road to Le Mans. Now, sigh and pause and refresh and recharge, and probably another cup of tea or two before the big event gets underway, the 24 Hours of Le Mans. 4 p.m. start and finish time this year. We have reverted back to 4 p.m. and we will be on air just half an hour before there, so 3:30 p.m. local time. So 15:30, 14:30 in the UK, 13:30 Greenwich Mean Time. Wherever you are, hope to have your company. We look forward to what is undoubtedly going to be an absolute humdinger of a race. The morning started sunny, it has clouded over. Rain is forecast for later on this afternoon. Possibly not a lot, possibly not for long. But Graham Goodwin, you don't need much to add extra spice to a Le Mans 24-hour race, do you?
You don't. I think it's going to be a corker. I think we're going to have 3 extraordinary races in class with the 2 GT classes and LMP2, and I think the greatest thing about Hypercar this year is we don't know.
Yes.
We don't know that 4 brand new cars and 1 grandfather car, all sorts of pieces in that jigsaw, and that's going to be one to savour. If you're watching, pick a potential winner in each class and keep following that. It's 4 races in one, and it never ceases to amaze people who experience this for the very first time, just what dramas that can throw at it. And 2 big pieces in the jigsaw this year that are different from the hypercar, the pre-hypercar era. One is that the hypercars do not have the ultimate pace or punch of the LMP1s. That means that the cars are somewhat closer together.
As Maurice Smith congratulating Nicky Leutwiler, the GT3 winner.
Absolutely. And, oh, that's Sean Lynn
Yeah.
in his Bentley overalls.
Dario Franchitti. in
Either
his,
that or Guy Smith's put on a bit of timber.
lost a bit of thatch.
Great to see him. Both those gentlemen, by the way, just pushing hard. Sean with a win and a second. Dario with the win in GT1 today in the Endurance Racing Legends. And legend he is.
Talking of Endurance Racing Legends, we will of course be joined by Ollie Gavin and Darren Turner, who, to make sure that he was sufficiently rested for his Le Mans commentary debut, broke the car yesterday.
Did. Absolutely careless, I thought.
Thoughtless.
Absolutely. Also, of course, Alan McNish. And as we were saying a little earlier in the week, Martin, 5 class wins for Ollie, 3 class wins for Darren, 3 overall wins for Alan McNish. You've been here since 1980-something. You've never won. I think that's a poor form.
I know. Oh, well, you know, got to give the old bloke some leeway somewhere. Ollie Gavin was saying yesterday, actually, that he in his 19 consecutive Le Mans starts for Corvette Racing, his 19 consecutive Le Mans starts, full stop, he started the race 17 consecutive times. Well, I don't know how long we have to research grid sheets.
No chance.
Can't imagine anybody has. But what's the next closest to that? Because that must be a record.
It has to be. We were looking back because I misinterpreted your texted question yesterday, and I can't even find anybody who started it 17 consecutive times for the same team in any way in the lineup.
Yes, I hadn't even mentioned for the same team.
Yeah. And by the way, on the same side of the garage, it was the same car.
Yeah.
The 74 or the 64.
Yeah. Or the 4.
Celebrates though with deserved podiums here.
Car dealer Florent Moulin, clearly also pretty handy at pedalling.
And great moments. This is an iconic podium. Should mention, by the way, as we acknowledge the legends that are on the podium and also acknowledge the legends that are going to be joining us. Great to have David Addison back on the crew here this year.
David will be kicking off proceedings.
Be opening the top drawer of the Addison filing cabinet of fact.
He is your starting driver. He is your starting commentator.
And the Dempsey and Makepeace of pit lane reporting as well. Louise Beckett and resume with up-and-coming Scottish talent Duncan Vincent, the stellar line-up in pit lane on this broadcast.
Dempsey and Makepeace, though, famously were both quite attractive. and while Louise is, Duncan is Duncan. James Cottingham, our race winner. So 2 of 3 of our podium finishers are renowned car dealers. Sean is more of a renowned car hoarder.
Absolutely.
A hoarder is not. Actually, you know what? Hoarder almost is the correct terminology because he owns everything Bentley from the Bentley program other than the number 8 winning car.
He does. He's, and by the way...
By everything, I mean the filing cabinets, the kettle, everything.
And the best thing about this is he does have cars in numbers, but they're out there and they're racing. And the level of preparation that he pours into his racing efforts is amazing.
Well, these guys do this because they're proper petrol heads. They love these things.
They do indeed.
They love them with a passion, you know, and everybody who's out there on that Legends grid loves old cars, and everybody who's supplied a car to have a hot shoe like a Dario or a Darren Turner or whatever in them, you know, there's a reason for that. It's because they want to see these things
and it's
driven with the wheels off.
It's great to see that you've got cars like this not gathering dust, but going out there and going wheel to wheel and providing entertainment, not just for the guys behind the wheel, but for all of us either trackside or at home as well. And more power to you, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to see, I'm sure, a lot more of that. I think that was a great introduction to the endurance racing legends to Le Mans 24 Hours. Bill, I have zero doubt we're going to see that again.
Yeah.
Great spirit, by the way, in that paddock, as there are in almost every historic racing paddock I've ever been in.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, you know, historic racing is becoming an increasingly big thing here at Le Mans as well, with the Le Mans Classic, which was due to happen last year and was due to be rescheduled for this year. You know, 2022 then would be its normal regular slot, and hopefully, things being what they are, that might happen. And of course then 2023 is the mother and father of all memorials, because it'll be Le Mans' centenary year, and who on earth knows what's going to get dragged out for that.
It's Dario Franchitti on top of the podium. It's not Dario.
I was going to say, I don't think it is.
That must be LMP2.
Yeah. Dario's in a white set of overalls with blue stripes, a very post-historic set of overalls, in fact. And there were an awful lot of different categories and subcategories.
So the plan at the moment, I believe, is back-to-back Le Mans Classics in 22 and 23.
Yeah. There's Dario.
Indeed.
Very happily returned to a bit of racing, historic rather than modern, after his big IndyCar shunt, which curtailed his modern racing career. It has not curtailed his passion, his enthusiasm, or his love for the sport. Apparently, still pedals a decent car quickly.
Indeed, and has a cousin in the main race, of course.
Yep.
And Paul di Resta.
He's a Daytona 24-hour winner, isn't he?
Yeah. Have never raced here. His exit, I'm afraid, from IndyCar stopped that opportunity, and there were opportunities looming.
Dario Franchitti, a Le Mans rookie. You know, of all the things he's done, and the IndyCar titles and the Indy 500 wins, never got a chance to race here in period.
Enjoying moments on one of the most iconic podiums of world motorsport.
Yeah. Get a bit of a selfie, and hopefully again in the years to come, the sea of humanity underneath the podium will be able to return.
But great to see crowds in significant five-figure numbers here. It is fair to say now, with the benefit of reflection, it was weird last year. It was very strange indeed.
Well, it was weird at the time because, you know, you walk out of the TV compound towards across the road, essentially, towards the back of the paddock, and there weren't 30,000 people between you and the other side of the road. And there habitually always are.
And I'd like to say the one advantage was it made it easy to go and get a pint, but of course that was closed as well. So. But they are coming back. It's been great to see some familiar faces amongst that crowd.
Yep.
Some of them even recognised us through the beer haze.
And some familiar faces as well in the paddock, as ever.
Indeed.
You know, often year to year, the shirts change, the haircuts change, and actually with masks everywhere, it is a little more difficult to recognise everybody immediately. But always good to catch up with that. And this is just such a massive melting pot of different, you know, nationalities and personalities, and everybody comes here with one common thread. Is they got injected with this particular virus early, and once you've got it, there's no inoculation, I'm afraid. Once you've got Le Mans fever, you've got Le Mans fever. In the background there, the boss of WRT. Fairly happy with their podium finish, Vincent Vos. Sans flat cap, he almost always has his tweed flat cap on. Obviously doesn't need the insulation from the temperature today or from the sun.
Louis Delatraz, I thought, in the background there as well.
Yeah, Louis and Dad Jean Denis racing here. Yeah, more dads and lads racing. Lots of dads. And of course, the big story that's caught the headlines is the Magnussens, Jan and Kevin. Actually, I really want to hear from Kevin what it's like to be allowed to drive out the front of the garage, because he spent his entire life up until now being allowed only in the back of the garage when Dad was racing. And Kevin, I think, has been coming here since he was year dot. So yeah, it's been he spoke to him before the season. He said, he's always had this understanding that there is more to life than Formula One, that there is this whole world out there that exists. Because of course his dad was a Formula One driver, but as long as Kevin has known, has been an endurance racing driver. And so he said it was always there, the knowledge that once the Formula One career came to an end, and it will always come to an end, because that's what Formula One is. He said there was always the knowledge that endurance racing was very much on the table.
And worth adding, his dad's been one of those people in the vanguard of being the kind of old-fashioned sort of modern racing driver, because he's always done touring cars in the background back in Denmark at a very high level. So it's good to see that coming back more, that the opportunities are there for people to just try something a bit different. And, the smallest list in the world, Martin, is the list of people who come to Le Mans once. Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's remarkable once you've experienced it, whichever level you take it on, whether or not it's as a driver, whether or not it's a spectator. It's always been something that draws people back in year after year.
It is, absolutely. I first came here as a punter on a Page and Moy bus tour in 1983, and have come back almost every single year since, either as a fan or luckily to be able to get inside the fencing and to spend my weeks chatting to drivers and teams and just trying to learn more and more about the sport. So it's a phenomenal thing. People often, when they say, "Oh, what do you do?" I'm a motorsport commentator, and so what are you doing? So I'm doing Le Mans. Well, the one where they race all night, yes. What on earth do you find to talk about? I say, you're kidding. There's more than 50 cars, and each one of them has got a 24-hour story. So, you'll get to the end of the race, and you'll look at the finishers, and you'll suddenly go, do you know, I don't think I mentioned that car once, and I've been on air for 12 of the 24 hours.
Third, and for RLRM Sports, and a second appearance at least, that I can remember, on the podium here for Mikey Benham, and a first time on the podium for young Malte Jakobsen, who has grown by about 3 feet since I first met him about 3 weeks ago.
It's a great combination, actually, there, of sort of experience and youthful speed.
Fantastic result for Milner Motorsports, or Bernie Milner under the podium. And great stuff from the 21 crew.
And Cool Racing taking second spot. Going out into sort of slightly odd order, not winners last.
to Le Mans, la Michelin Le Mans Cup. Gentlemen, please take yourself your trophy. Prenez vos trophées.
Strains of the Belgian national anthem. As the racing team, including Maurice Smith, under the podium there. Great race again. Yeah. The Road to Le Mans has just become a firm favourite. It really has. Great to watch, great to be involved in. The teams absolutely love it. It's become, as you said earlier in the broadcast, Martin, a real draw to draw teams and drivers into this discipline and encourage them onwards, to give them that flavour of this. Yeah. There were days when the only way of doing this was to get into an historic car or a one-make racer. Now, it really feels part, doesn't it, of the rungs on this ladder?
Very much, very much. And there are teams in the 24-hour garages who have come up all the way through Le Mans Cup and through ELMS into World Endurance and to racing here at Le Mans. And you know, could you bait a hook more juicily than have the 24 hours of Le Mans as the top step of the ladder? I don't think it's possible.
TF Sport the very first winners when it was solely a GT3 challenge, and look what's come from that. You know, there's first fruit that were born on that tree, and yeah, multiple cars in multiple championships and multiple wins in those championships as well now for Tom Ferrier. This is great stuff. This really, really matters to these guys as well. You know, for a lot of people here, this is a support race. This is the biggest moment in a number of these guys' careers, including young Malte Jakobsen. He will be disappointed in third, I know, but on reflection, he'll look back and see this as a massive career highlight.
Yeah. To be on the podium at Le Mans, you know, what endurance racing driver, what sports car driver doesn't want that? And actually, do you know what, you know, again, we talked a little bit about it before we came on air. One of the support races here, a 5-hour race for Fun Cup yesterday. And again, you know, there will be teams in there who are going to take the bait and will go, you know, they're looking over
Absolutely.
at the Le Mans Cup teams going, do you know what, that's not that far from what we know already.
Yep.
We could do that.
Yep.
And that's the next deal, isn't it, where you could see teams from the support races starting their way up the ladder.
Well, look at some of the teams who've joined in the fun this year. There's a big contingent from German national GT racing with Rinaldi involved now. You've got Black Falcon involved now. You've got the Spiegel Team Manta. All sorts. Phoenix around in there.
Friccadelli.
And that's happened for one reason. It's happened because a group of you know, like-minded people are swapping information about what a massive bargain LMP3 is.
Yeah.
In world motorsport terms, it is an astonishingly accessible way of getting to some astonishing events around the world.
And it's so transferable, isn't it? You know, if you've got the skills to run LMP3, you can run them anywhere. You can run them, you know, in Europe. You can run them in Asia. You can run the cars anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, Friccadelli Motorsport have been running their LMP3 car in national racing in Germany. Joined the Michelin Le Mans Cup grid this year. Delayed, of course, for the, as we see, the top step of the GT podium.
Yep. That was the WRT crew that finished in third place. Here's Niki Leutwiler.
And Julian Andlauer should be.
Julian Andlauer has not come up to the podium. No. I think he's got other things that he needs to do, hasn't he?
Well, he's not a million miles away from the start of
Is he the starting driver?
We'll check.
Well, whatever, he is not on this podium. Now, I wonder if he gets another podium tomorrow afternoon. That would be fun, wouldn't it? So the Swiss anthem for Porsche Zentrum Oberzürchsee by TFT.
TFT Porsche.
No, you are absolutely not allowed to call it that.
Can we rewind this? We're not live.
Management says you are absolutely not. You have to use the entire name.
But Niki Leutwiler, after that race win, another man who comes to these races with ACO titles on his CV, another Asian Le Mans Series champion back in the day.
Iron Lynx team taking second place with the number 8 car, and Team WRT in third place. It was a really tough battle as well, wasn't it?
It was indeed.
Andrea Piccini and Rory Penttinen ending up in second place. In fact, it's not Andrea Piccini, they're Andrea Piccini's overalls, aren't they? It was Rory Penttinen who started the race in that car. Everyone smells like a winner, whether you're on the podium or in the in the spray zone downstairs and downwind.
And that late last gasp
Yeah.
move in traffic puts the smiles on faces in the Porsche crew,
Yeah.
and puts the frowns on the brows of Iron Lynx. But you've got to make it pay.
Yeah, Nicky Leutwiler did the opening stint, and then Julian Andlauer didn't look like he was going to be able to take that win on pace, but traffic played its part, and not slow traffic either, fast traffic. Audi finishing in third place, a Le Mans podium for Team WRT. That must be their first ever, isn't it? Or
Yes, 100%.
yeah.
Yes, I mean, their first appearance anywhere at Le Mans on the full circuit has come this week.
All the experience they have of winning with GT3 cars and winning with Audi and winning 24-hour races.
Yep.
And this is another, you know, they come here as rookies, and it's almost impossible to conceive that a team that experienced in endurance racing has never bitten the carrot before, but now they have, and,
What chap
and
just
now
come
they're
next
hooked.
for them? What chap just come next? And it's been an impressive debut for them here so far. And, well, I feel that this is probably the race coming up with 24 Hours of Le Mans that matters more than any other for the future. That's it.
Well, that is it then for Road to Le Mans. Two highly entertaining races from round 4. Next time out, late September at Spa-Francorchamps before the season finale at Portimao in Portugal.